were attacking you, or was it lack of execution on the Pelicans' part?
I mean, they did a really good job. We did a really poor job. We came with no energy in the second half, and third quarter was awful. The turnovers, that's where, to me, the game was in the second half. I mean, we're just turning the ball over all the time, and that was fueling their fast break. I mean, we played really poorly. Now, I'll always give the other team credit. I thought their defense was good, but our offense was terrible. I did a terrible job. I could not figure out what to run offensively that would get us going and get us shots. I did a poor job too. We were just really bad in the second half. And I don't mean that to say, I don't want to take anything away from Sacramento and what they did, okay? But, when you're turning the ball over like we were, if you're missing shots, it's fine. You get a chance to get back. But, man, when you're turning it over, it gets hard.
A win is a win, though, Coach, and you were able to pull out of that ISO ball and the ball sticking so much and the turnovers. Was that a mental discipline on the players' part? Was that a play calling element or a combination?
No, look, we've got some guys out there in roles that, they're not used to being in, and we're having guys have to handle the ball that, don't usually have to handle the ball. When James went out for the second half, that had a big impact on us in our flow, and it also meant rotation-wise that, I wore out Zion and Brandon because we didn't have that other guy to put in the game, a playmaking forward to put in the game, and so it was tough. It was just really tough second half. Look, we didn't do a good job. We didn't take care of the ball. I didn't do a good job in terms of helping us offensively. But we got a win out of it. And so, everybody gets all excited about the comebacks, and I get that. They did a great job. But you know what? We get a win and they get a loss. So be as excited as you want about them and as positive as you want about them. People, it's just a weird thing in basketball. Football, same thing in sports. Like, you talk about the comeback instead of, hell, we're up 23 at the half. Like, what happened there? But nobody's questioning them. They showed great heart in the comeback. I'll take the 23-point lead and the 7-point win.
Coach, how important Steven Adams is, especially rebounding and defense. Then when they get into the situation where they're fouling him and his free throw shooting isn't on par with everyone else, what's your dilemma as far as keeping him in the game? He had those two huge back taps late in the game when you're trying to close it out.
Yeah, listen, under 2 minutes, they can only foul him if he had the ball, and he didn't want to get fouled, so he was tapping it out. I think people sometimes, like I've had Shaq, I've had Dwight Howard, I've had Andre Drummond before he started shooting them better. Now I've got Steven. So I've been in this situation before. And I think what people don't totally understand about it, it's not just the free throws. So Steven's going up making 1 out of 2. If you're scoring on average a point of possession, you should be able to finish the game out. The problem is the clock. So our possessions are taking 2 seconds. So now there's just more possessions in the game, which obviously benefits the team trying to come from behind. And so it wasn't so much his free throw shooting, it's I want that clock moving and us to have longer possessions. And I think that's something people don't understand about it. That to me is a bigger problem than the free throw percentage at that point.
Going back to the first half when you were able to build a lead up, it was a bit of a sluggish start, but your bench again, it seemed to ignite the team, and that's when you really went on the run with Kyra and Jackson, and it was just good to see those guys again ignite the team.
Yeah, well, there's some energy there, right? they haven't played the number of minutes these guys had. That's our 8th game in 12 days, guys. That's grueling. That's grueling. I said to my wife today before I left the house, I said, I hope our players aren't as tired as I am. And I don't even run up and down the court. That's a grueling schedule, 8 and 12 days. The whole season has been a grind, but that's a grueling schedule. And I think that showed in the second half also.
Yes, now you talk a lot about how much you want B.I. and Zion to really consider themselves, among the top duos in this league and all the things that come with that. But how impressive has it been to see two young guys being as consistent as they've been this year with their offensive output, knowing how much you need them, to produce that way offensively from night to night?
Yeah, no, they've been outstanding, and BI made some really big plays tonight. They've been really, really good. I mean, they, like everybody on our team tonight, were turning the ball over. That's got to stop to close out games. I mean, cut the turnovers in half in the second half, and, you win going away. Forget even if you don't even make more shots. So, but look, I'm happy to get the win. As I told them afterwards, I had no negative comments at all for them. We may have in the future when we talk about this game, but, we just won both games of a back-to-back for only the second time this year, and we did it on the 7th and 8th games in 12 nights. So I'm gonna stick to the positive on that. You guys write it the way you want, but I'm sticking to the positive.
Yeah, and Stan, I mean, to that point, when you look at these two games, I know it wasn't the most beautiful basketball, but how encouraged are you that, even when things weren't going exactly according to plan, the team just got 2 wins in a row here at the end of the front stretch?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about, right? And so, they did that. I was happy with it. I'm really happy that we probably don't have to see De'Aaron Fox again this year. He's probably very sad about that. He'd be the MVP if he played us. So every game, we probably didn't do enough to help our guards on him either, though. So we'll see.
Hey Stan, I actually did want to talk about the first half. It seemed like that was probably one of your best first quarters of the year. Overall, it seemed like one of the better halves of the year. What actually went right in there in getting off to that good start?
Well, they were missing. Some of it was our defense, like I always say, and some of it was just them missing. And we were out in transition, and not necessarily just fast break points, but we were able to get the ball moving before their defense got set, and we were getting great shots. When you're not stopping anybody in the second half and you're turning the ball over, I mean, it gets more difficult. But I thought our defense in the first half keyed our offense. We had 4 turnovers in the first 4 or 5 minutes, and then after that we took care of the ball and played really solid basketball offensively. But I think a lot of it came off our defense.
Coach, can you give us any insight into James's wrist injury that took him out after the halftime break?
No, he was sore before the game and thought about not going before the game, but decided to give it a go, and then at halftime was too sore to finish. So that wasn't good for us, but I have no idea of where that puts him heading into Wednesday.
And what was it like just to see the big reaction when Isaiah came in the fourth quarter and where he was able to make a couple plays for you guys to kind of turn the momentum in your favor?
Loved it. Listen, I had to coach against him when he was making that great run in Boston, and he was absolutely incredible as a player, dynamic, the best fourth quarter guy in the league that last year. But then what he's been through, right? I mean, the guy actually exacerbated his injury by laying it on the line for his team. I mean, he had the hip injury. He continued to play in that playoff run because his team's more important to him than himself. And he's a great, great competitor. And he's paid dearly for that. He lost a lot of money for laying it on the line for his team. And he's had a really hard road to get another shot in the NBA. I haven't run into a player, probably, especially a veteran guy, more grateful for an opportunity to play in the league in my entire time in the league. He's been unbelievable here. And so to see him go in, even only for a few minutes, make a shot and get the appreciation of the fans. I hope he heard it. A lot of times you don't when you're out there playing. I hope he heard it. I hope he enjoyed it because he certainly deserves it. And I feel privileged that I've gotten the opportunity to coach him even for a very short amount of time.
And my bad, Peter, one more for me. But we talked before the game about, you know, the forward depth and how important James was for that. And now he goes down with the injury. I guess what does that mean for you guys moving forward, you know, if he ends up dealing with that?
I have no idea. We'll figure that out. We'll figure that out when it comes, you know, and it'll be a lot game by game. We tried to go big tonight. Again, in the second half, our big lineup was not good, but no lineup was really good in the second half. So, you know, that's how we tried to counter, and that wasn't great for us. I think it'll be game by game, right? I mean, trying to figure out who you play when those guys are out of the game. You know, but we've just got to play the game a lot better than we did in the second half tonight. We desperately need that day of rest tomorrow, and re-energize and hopefully be ready to go on Wednesday night.
Hi, Coach. Peter Ortiz on Private Media. Another 30-point game for Zion, over 50% field goal. What is the next step in the evolution of this game?
You know, I think it is for a lot of young players. There's two things I think that stand out to me. His defense, which at times has gotten better. He's got to get more consistent at that end of the floor. And his decision making, because we really want to put the ball in his hands a lot. And so especially late in the game, sort of understanding what everybody's doing to you and making the right decisions. I think those two are huge. And then obviously his shooting, but his shooting's coming along. I don't really have any concerns long term about his ability to shoot the ball. So to me, it's the defense and the decision making to be in that position night to night.
Thanks, Coach. We're all set.
All right.
Bledsoe, we have next.